At 6:37, we turn our attention now from politics to health. Always happy to have back on the show. We welcome expert on brain health and Alzheimer's, Lee Richardson. Lee, always a pleasure to have you on here in Memphis. How are you?
I am great, and thank you so much for having me.
So there are new global guidelines to reduce the risk of dementia. I got to tell you, this could be some very exciting news if there are at least some headway that's been made in this.
Well, we all know that it's normal. As we age, we begin to become a little slower with our processing, and we lose a little bit of our memory, and it kind of starts to get scary then. And what this report has showed is that there are really three things that we can do that are more preventative. And one is good old exercise, being physically active, and keeping your mind sharp with cognitive training, and controlling your high blood pressure. And all three things, those lead up to lifestyle changes. And that is hard to do.
Yes, because once we get in a groove, it seems like it's very difficult to be able to step out of that groove. That is for sure. What about supplements? I know sometimes we hear one day supplements are a bad thing, supplements are a good thing. I know as part of a healthy diet, you're talking about eating real food, but sometimes people are deficient in their vitamins. Is there any pros or cons to supplements?
Well, there's really been no evidence to support the use of ginkgo, and a lot of people do that, and vitamin E. But vitamin B is so good for the brain. So, and I think, people ask me about supplements all the time, and you can never get enough vitamin B12. But the other supplements, and I tell them, try them. And if you feel like you're sharper, if you feel like your response speed is faster, then continue using them, because there's not one strategy for everybody. There's a lot of different strategies that work for different people.
Lee Richardson joining us on Memphis Morning News. I've heard a lot of commercials about, I guess, is it Beets? What is that? Is that a new trend, or is that something? I know that food's been around, but is that a new trend in people adding to their nutrition regimen?
I've seen those beet commercials too. You can get beet powder. You can get beets all different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And I think that, beets are healthy for some people, but not for everybody.
Sure.
And I think we're all looking for that guarantee, that one thing that's going to guarantee us that it's not going to happen to us. And that is not going to happen. Yeah. There is no guarantee. I think prevention is what we really need to be focused on. And you think about it, if you just focus on controlling your high blood pressure, that helps maintain the healthy blood vessels in our brain. And when scientists look at the brains of people that have had Alzheimer's, they see a mix of things. They don't see just one thing. They'll see blood vessels that are the changes, which shows there's been evidence of a microbleed. They'll see the beta plaques and the tau tangles, and they'll see the lesions in the brain white matter. So it's all mixed. So we really need to look at a multiple of factors and focus on our prevention. If you're 65 years old and you are still not controlling your blood pressure and you're not managing it, you really ought to think about what you can do to bring it under control.
Hey, Lee, you mentioned in the diet as well. Is there a particular style of diet that seems to be preferred over others in being effective?
Well, what I have found in my research is the worst thing you can do for your brain and your body is processed food. If it comes in a bag, in a box, in a can, it's processed.
Yeah.
And it's that processed food that contains all those added chemicals and sugars that is very unhealthy. So if you can cut down 50% of the processed food out of your diet, I think you can see a change in your health.
That's fantastic, Lee. Thank you so much for hitting on a topic that I know our audience is got to be definitely interested in for our parents, or maybe for some of our more well seasoned members of our audience too. This is a very important topic. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Bye bye.
Memphis Morning News. It is 6:41.